and then it's pure again. You can't do that with a wooden vessel or with a, now of course paper is out of the question, but you see. So this is very relevant. And these are acceptable. There was one Brahmin, I don't remember how long ago, 500 or 1,000 years ago, Bhatta, his name, Lakshmidhar Bhatta. And he created a compendium of all this Smriti literature. So this is very good. But generally, the people who claim to be followers of the Smriti, they don't know. They don't read the books. They just say that in our family, or in this village, or in this district, they do like this, so this is the way things should be done. And you don't do that, then we don't care for you. So they don't get along with anybody, you see. And that's the same for, they made a religion. And that is not good. Our religion is to accept the supreme absolute truth in the form of the parampara from Krishna and the Shastras. That is our... I think, you see nowadays, interesting, you see world affairs, so-called advanced countries of the world, everything is degenerating very dangerously to violence. Any minute, they can use atomic missiles. Any minute. And it's based simply on demonic characteristics. They have no devotion to truth. It's simply lust and greed. Everything you read everything we know, practically that we learn from conventional sources, is false. I was reading one website, they're supposedly independent thinkers. So we're giving a list of historical events that were not actually as is taught in schools and colleges and universities. For example, Vietnam War was caused, one party blew up their own ship and blamed it on the others, and then they attacked them. It's like Prabhupada says, there's a dog, he's lying there, just being a dog. And you say, this dog, he's got rabies, he's looking at me, he's attacking, kill him. You see. The dog is innocent, didn't do anything, but you just give him a bad name, and and use that as the basis to attack. So this is the whole history, modern history. I remember my high school history book, the cover was like cut up pieces of newspaper pasted together. It was such rubbish. I couldn't make anything. It was all about wars, how, all modern events. And they're all lies, all lies. Bring up anyone. First World War, Second World War, all based on greed. I read that in India, I ask young people, what do you know about Western history? It's not important, but just what do you know? I mean, it's important and significant in that, like in First World War, Second World War, other wars, 100 million people died, so that's significant. So I asked, what do you know? Oh, we don't know anything. You know, you heard of Adolf Hitler? Oh yes, we've heard of Adolf Hitler. All they know is that he's a very bad man. What I discovered is that who put him in? Who empowered him? Not the German people, the Western banks, the Bank of India, the Bank of England, and the United States Reserve Bank. They funded his campaign. It's very costly, as you know, everybody knows, to launch a political campaign and get elected, isn't it? And 1 minute of television time in the United States now, at the right time of day, is $1 million. This Joe Biden, he got in by people spending a lot of money on him. Although he's intellectually impaired, he's neurologically unfit, but he's easily manipulated. So they chose him, and they spent the required millions of dollars, and he got elected. And other things also, falsification of votes and things. Anyway, these are details, but the idea, the principle is that all of modern history is like that. About the Romans and about this one and that one. It's all like this. Who funded who? Now it's very interesting. The Western media, they're owned. Like, who owns Google? Who owns these websites and media? A small group of people. They're the same ones who own the military industry and the pharma and the medical industry. The same group of people. So they're just as like demons, as described in Bhagavatam, Shishupal and people like that. They just want to kill. You know, Kamsa wanted to kill all the children in Mathura because they heard that one child is going to be a threat to him later in life, isn't it? So he was prepared to kill all the children. Yeah? That's demon. So these people are the same. They're prepared to reduce the population of the world to satisfy their greed and lust. They have unlimited wealth. They own, never mind airplanes, they own airports and underground townships with pizza shops and bowling alleys, everything. People don't know that, but you can do some research. Look up bunkers. The same people who are who elected Biden, they have bunkers, and they are calling others, Russia, you know, they're calling them ill names. Well, the Russians are actually, yeah, I don't know if it's correct to say pious, but if you know something about Russian history, you see that there's a lot of religious basis. And just yesterday I was looking on, I subscribe to Russia Today, which is not available in the West. Some of my godbrothers told me, how do you know what's going on? So I told them I read Russia Today. There was an article, like editorial, history of the Russian army. So there's a picture of a soldier about 500 years ago, and he's got a Sika. He's got a very nice Sika. He looks just like Chanakya Pandit on the book cover here. Big Sika and a sword. So they were Kshatriyas. They were following Vedic. And generally Russia is, much of Russia is what is called Central Asia, which according to Bhagavatam is where the Aryans are from. Aryans come from Russia, what is now Russia. Okay? So this explains in a way why the world is divided as it is. Because there's other websites about Russian Christians. Do you know that some Americans are becoming Russian Christians and moving to Russia? You know that? They're a little intelligent. They know what's going on. They're leaving America. It's not a mass movement, but you can Google Russian Christians, and you see Americans are becoming Russian Christians and going to live in Russia, because they see that the Western situation is hopeless and dangerous. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tat vidi pratena upatekshanti teganam jnaninas tattva darshanah. Find the truth. How? Not online. You can find the truth online if you know that Bhaktivedanta is speaking the truth. You type Bhaktivedanta and you can see. But if somebody doesn't know, you won't find online. And Krishna says, find the truth by inquiring submissively, approach tatvidi, one who knows the truth. You have to approach the authority. Authority is one who speaks the Vedic knowledge, the Vedic conclusion. He may speak about external things according to time and place, but overall his philosophy is the Vedic version. So we have to approach such a acharya and in a submissive way, not challenging, and he will be the instrument whereby actual understanding will arise in you. Because what does the verse say? Upadekshanti te gyanam gyananas tattva darshana. Because he knows the truth and he's therefore very magnanimous. So he shares it. So this is the movement that the acharyas, Chaitanya Krishna himself came 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we are in that line through the line of acharyas. And I added some pictures on the altar you've seen. They are all self-realized and pure. So if we take umbrage of them, then we can become liberated, not by sitting like this or pressing our nose. This mechanical yoga may be good for the gallbladder, but it doesn't help spiritual life much. So, are there any questions or comments? So I was, in relation to my little argument with Mohan, he could not give any evidence that all the manuscripts that were destroyed in which university? Not Nalgonda, something sounds like that. Nalanda University. Nalanda. He could not give any evidence of what those books were. if the custodians of those books were actually realized, then Krishna would have protected them and the books against the invaders. Just like we see in the history of ISKCON, sometimes some gundas attacked the temple, but Krishna protected. Although we were just young neophytes, Krishna protected us. Simply Krishna would have protected. The actual history augurs against the argument that these were all Vedic literatures and they're lost. No. Even modern, so-called modern, like Adi Shankaracharya, he is Lord Shiva. He is the greatest devotee of Krishna. But he was given the task to bewilder the people, because the people were following atheism in the form of Buddhism. You see? So if you see in Bhagavatam, or in Bhagavad Gita, it says that Shankaracharya had the mission of producing asat shastra, untrue shastra. In other words, not true shastra, not really shastra. So he wrote so many books. Now, if Mohan was here, I'd ask him, is that Vedic literature? Krishna himself says, you write this artificial shastra and to confuse the people. They should give up their ideas of God. So is that Vedic literature? No. Is that Vedic literature? It's in Sanskrit and it's written by Adi Shankaracharya, but is it Vedic literature? No. The Vedic literature is all for upliftment. And Shankaracharya's commentaries were for bewildering the audience, not for uplifting them, to confuse them, or mislead them, or get them to accept something false. So what are all the other books? Maybe they were not even on spiritual topics. Maybe they were on technology. In the modern technology literature, it's very impressive, but some of it is defective. You get there, drugs and medicines. Many of them are poisonous, and they cause serious disease. Although they're manufactured after a lot of scientific research in big laboratories, big scientists, and published in big journals, but they're defective, not valid knowledge. I'm a victim. Some of you are victims of this. I used to tell people I'm a victim of the Industrial Revolution. Because the Industrial Revolution, you've read, what is his name that he discovered the benzene ring? What is his name? Something with a K. Austrian, I think, chemist. Oh. He had a dream. He was working in the laboratory for, I don't know, days or weeks or months, trying to understand what he discovered some molecule. What was the structure? Kekule. So in the dream, he saw a snake with his tail in his mouth. So he said, aha, it's a ring. So he went to the laboratory and he did something, and then he wrote discovery benzene ring. And now you have lakhs of toxic chemicals based on benzene that will kill you. And they're in the news now. Vinyl chloride in the United States, this train accident. Who knows? So, what is the saying? All that something is not, all that is in big libraries is not true truth. All that is taught in universities is not truth. As one of my godbrothers used to say, if you don't got Krishna, you don't got nothing. And if you know Krishna, the Prabhupada would say, this little girl, Saraswati, 5 years old, she would preach. You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna, accept Krishna. So he said, she knows everything. But a big a person who has a big title and big reputation, if he doesn't know Krishna, then he doesn't know anything. And you can see many great authors and artists and poets, at the end of life they were bewildered. So we have to follow the instruction given in Bhagavad Gita, that we to approach Tatvidi and hear from him. So we are very fortunate to have these books. They're very vast. Maybe we think, how can in one lifetime have so many external problems and responsibilities, how can we read all this and assimilate it? May not be possible, but if Krishna will help us. Well, thank you. Any questions or comments?